The way you're treated by society is just devastating. People in the neighbourhood, because my child was acting like this, they looked at me like I was just the scum of the earth mother, as did my family. You know, and then when you find out what's wrong with your child, why they're acting like that, why it's food chemicals and other chemicals that are affecting their behaviour, and you'd ask them, look, please don't use this because we don't want him exposed to the chemicals, then they would abuse you or stop seeing you because you'd ask them to do that. So no matter what you did, you were damned if you did, you were damned if you didn't. Multiple chemical sensitivity is chemical injury, chemical sensitivity, MCS. It is an illness caused from chemical exposures, differing levels of chemical sensitivity through from mild to moderate to extremely severe and totally debilitating. Our view on chemicals before James was like most of the population. We had no idea. My father used to use pesticides. My husband and I, used chemicals in the home of all sorts. We truly had no knowledge. He wasn't particularly sickly, but he did have a violent reaction to his second triple antigen vaccination at 4 months of age. Then he became sick all the time from then on. Soon after the vaccine, he was screaming, this violent, high-pitched scream that just he couldn't stop. His whole body would arch and just jerk. Projectile vomiting. His ears were bright red, I remember that specifically as well, and shocking diarrhoea as well as the projectile vomiting. But the screaming was just awful. I did make a terrible error of judgment again as a parent. I let him be vaccinated for his school entry. I shouldn't have. A lot of guilt there. And also in the year after, about almost 7 I guess he would have been, we had our home sprayed for fleas twice. I look back and I think I was one of the ignorant people. I didn't have any knowledge that these are dangerous chemicals, and that was when I myself suffered the effects of the pesticide. I couldn't stop crying, and that I continued crying. Look, it would have been at least 3 years or more. And my son's behaviour deteriorated. He was becoming violent and psychotic. James's reactions were extensive at times, extreme. He would have the most destructive headaches, I guess would be the only way I could describe it. As a tiny little boy, I'd be bathing him and he'd say, "Mummy, if you don't stop these headaches, I'm going to kill myself. I can't stand it." Sometimes he would have a reaction up to 20 times a day where he would just not only be so ill, but then the behaviour, he'd tear the place apart, throw things, destroy furniture, break things, put holes in the wall. He was very skinny after a doctor started him on Ritalin. That was a specialist in Sydney. I did tell that specialist that he reacted violently to the vaccination, and he just said, like all the other doctors, "Oh, it wouldn't have been that." Some of them had the gall to blame me as an ineffective parent. One said I was psychotic for keeping diary notes of my son's conditions. Another one just said straight out that he's a spoilt little shit and I had to learn how to control him properly. The doctor of environmental medicine who saved my son's life is Dr. Barry Ryan. He's well respected around the world for his knowledge of environmental medicine. He did a lot of testings, of course, and sent different samples even to a lab in Melbourne, I think it was, and he was chemically overloaded. And we'd gone to other testings as well, and he was definitely suffering from multiple chemical sensitivity. He was chemically injured.